When a principal provides service to an agent, it is always in separate supply. It is always in separate supply. Hence, GST will be applicable. Hence, GST will be applicable on such supply based on whether service is taxable or not. Based on whether service is taxable or not. Then second point. When agent provides service to the principal, when agent provides service to the principal, we have to check whether the agent is in capacity of employee or not. Now, how to check whether he is employee or not? In order to check whether an agent is employee, if TDS is deducted under 192 section, if TDS is deducted under section 192, then he is appointed in the capacity of employee. In that case, it is not included here. Second, if TDS is deducted under 194J, if TDS is deducted under 194J.
Ma'am, once again, in the first point, if TDS is deducted under section 192, then he is appointed in the capacity of employee. In that case, GST is applicable.
GST is normally applicable, but not due to schedule number 1.
Okay.
Wait, what you are asking, if it is in capacity of employee, no, GST would not be applicable. That will be covered in schedule number 3. Wait, I will make you right. Okay. Now, what I was saying, yeah, if TDS is deducted under 194J, he is not working in the capacity of employee. He is not working in the capacity of employee. As per schedule 3, whenever employee provides service, as per schedule 3, whenever employee provides service in course of employment to the employer, no GST levied. No GST levied, because it is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Because it is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. However, when not working in the capacity of employee, GST is leviable based on. However, when not working in the capacity of employee, GST is leviable based on the fact whether service taxable or not. Based on the fact whether service taxable or not. And then schedule 3, change the pointer. Sorry, schedule 1, para 3, schedule 1, para 3, is dedicated only about supply of goods between principal agent and agent principal. Schedule 1, para 3. Schedule 1, para 3 is dedicated only for supply of goods from principal to agent and agent to principal. Done? Chalo. Now keep a heading, types of agent. See, there are two types of agent. There are two types of agent. A normal agent, there is a normal agent and there is del creditor agent. There are two types of agent, a normal agent and a del creditor agent. Now, before moving to the type of agent, that is, there is a normal agent, there is a del creditor agent, I have to first of all see whether he is agent for me under paragraph 3. Paragraph 3 is principal to agent, agent to principal, supply of goods. So first of all, I have to determine one thing, whether the particular principal agent relationship falls under my paragraph 3 schedule 1. So first of all, I have to just identify that. In order to identify, what is the deciding factor? Whether invoice for supply of goods on behalf of principal issued by agent in his name or issued by agent on the name of principal. Suppose I have appointed an agent, Pallavi. Suppose I have appointed an agent and I have appointed Pallavi. She is sleeping all the time. I would say, I would not allow you to make an invoice in your name. Pata nahi sote sote koi mistake kar de. So I will say, Pallavi, you cannot make invoice in your name. You have to compulsorily make invoices in my name only. That means I'm not an agent. I have not been given actually the powers. I have not been given actually what? The powers. So if you don't have the power to make invoice in your own name, you are not agent according to this paragraph 3. So first of all, check the power, the deciding factor, whether the agent has been given power to make invoices in his own name. Now she got alert because her name has been taken. Now I am allotting her the power. Okay, now you can make invoices in your own name. Now she has become the agent as per paragraph number 3 of schedule 1. She would not forget this now. Done? Deciding factor clear? Done? So, first of all, you have to decide what you have to decide, whether invoice is for the supply of goods on behalf of principal. Can agent issue in his name? Yes, agent can issue in his name. Whether if issued by agent in the name of principal, if it is issued in the name of principal, then he will not fall under paragraph 3. But if he can issue in his name, he is falling under paragraph 3, schedule number 1. Done? Now, the main concern is what? The main concern is who is normal agent. First of all, I have identified, okay, you are an agent for me. Now I will check the type of agent you are. So for the type of agent, whether he is del creditor agent or whether he is not a del creditor agent. Now, who is del creditor agent? A selling agent appointed by principal. It could be for supply of goods, for the supply of service. An agent has been appointed for anything. You have to supply service on behalf of me. You have to supply goods on behalf of me. But he is the agent that will give guarantee of payment to the supplier. He is someone who will be giving guarantee that for sure this person will give you payment, and if this person is not giving you payment, I am the one, I will give you the payment. A normal agent does not take this kind of guarantee, but Dell creditor agent means he is giving you the guarantee, whatever credit you will give, I am the one, I will pay for you. If he is not paying, I will pay for you. Now, how would he pay? Suppose I have given what I have given on credit sales to someone. Okay, he has taken guarantee कि I will give the payment. Now that purchaser fails. That purchaser fails to give me the payment. Now there are two options with the Dell creditor agent. Either he will give loan to that party, that customer, that I am giving loan to you. I am Dell creditor agent. I am giving loan to you. Now you pay to that seller. Or he can directly pay to the seller and recover it from him. भाई वो दान नहीं करने वाला है. He is not going to do charity. Obviously, he will give loan for the purpose of fulfillment of that transaction. Either he will give loan directly to the customer or he will pay directly to the seller. If he is paying directly to the seller, he will get reimbursement where from that customer. If 10 lakh have been, if the goods of 10 lakh have been sold on guarantee of Dell creditor agent, that person fails to pay 10 lakh only. I am giving 10 lakh to whom? That seller, but I would not recover 10 lakh from him. That 10 lakh I will recover. That is only transaction of money, but I will charge interest on that. So transaction of money, no GST, but interest would have GST on it. Are you getting? Of money, because money is neither supply of goods nor supply of services. Of money transaction 10 lakh, no GST by my side, but I am charging interest on that, and interest is for money. It is for money, related to money. Something is being done. For that I will charge GST. Now my concern is, you are my Dell creditor agent. Whether you are agent under paragraph 3 or not, that will decide something. What does this mean? Suppose I am a Dell creditor agent. Just analyze this thing. Actually, there are two transactions going on. One is sale of good and one is related to this recovery. One is sale of good and one is related to this recovery. When I am providing loan to that person, actually I am giving him service. Related to money is service that we have seen in the definition of service. Remember? Nod yourself if you remember. In the definition of service, you have seen use of money, right? So if I'm giving him money, I'm using the money, I will earn something. That is supply of service. So there is supply of goods also from principal to that customer. I am also giving him the service. So can't you see there are two types of supplies going on over here? Now, whether this supply of service will form part of the main invoice or this supply of service would not form part of the main invoice, you cannot decide primarily. I have to check whether this Dell creditor agent is my paragraph 3 wala agent. That means he has been given power to make invoice in his own name. If he has been given power to make invoice in his own name, then I can combine the supplies. I will make one invoice. But if he is not that kind of agent, he has not been given power to make invoice in his own name, then he is giving a separate supply. I am giving a separate supply. His supply will be counted in his turnover. My supply will be counted in my turnover. Getting this logic? Now repeating it again. Paragraph number 3. Schedule number 1. Am I required to learn the paragraph? Yes. For schedule number 1, only 4 things have been given. Do remember it because it will improve your presentation. So paragraph number 3, schedule number 1 is totally about agent, principal and totally about only goods. When it comes to agent, first of all, I have to identify, are you an agent for me under paragraph 3? Abhishek, listen properly. Are you agent under paragraph 3. How I will identify that? Whether that agent has been given the power that you can make invoice in your own name. Yes, that agent has been given the power. You are the agent as per paragraph 3. But he has not been given the power to make invoice in his own name. He has to compulsory write the name of principal. You are not actually my agent. Then moving forward, types of agent. There is a normal agent, there is a DEL creditor agent. If it is a normal agent, he would never give a guarantee about the payment. But if he is DEL creditor agent, he will give you the guarantee about the payment. Now, when it comes to DEL creditor agent, there are two kinds of supplies that are going on. There are two kinds of supplies that are going on. Supply number 1, when principal has sold goods or service, whatever it is, when the principal has given goods or service to that person, that is customer. Supply number 1. Then supply number 2, when DEL creditor agent is giving service. By service, because we have seen in the definition of money, a definition of service, that use of money for which something extra have been charged. So use of money is supply of service. I'm using the money, that is supply of service. So when I give him money, I'm charging some interest from him. So that is supply of service. So there are two supplies actually. When there are two supplies, I have to check whether I can combine it in one invoice. That will this supply be considered as a turnover of only principal, or it would be turnover separately of agent. Now again, it depends on what type of agent you are. If you are an agent who has been given ki you can make invoice in your own name, then you have to combine it. That means it is turnover only of principal. But if he has not been given that you cannot make invoice in your own name, that means that supply of service is separate transaction of agent, and supply of goods or service, whatever he is giving, that is different. That is turnover of principal only. So basically, when it comes to DEL creditor could be for anything. It could be for whether the principal is giving services to any party or whether it is giving goods to any party. Only for DEL creditor, it is goods and service. But when it comes to your schedule number 1 ka paragraph 3, in that they are talking only about goods. So for DEL creditor, goods and service both have been mentioned. Because it is transaction between DEL creditor and principal right now, but that was only transfer of goods in schedule 1 paragraph 3. So DEL creditor is a clarification, but schedule 1 paragraph 3 is not a clarification. It is specifically mentioned in section number 7. Are you getting the two differences? Now this mind map is
this DEL creditor agent, when he is providing the money to the customer and the customer pays to the principal, will that be the invoice of the principal or the DEL creditor agent?
That is what I'm saying. Whatever is the kind of adjustment DEL creditor has done, it is irrelevant. We have to check if that agent can make invoice in name of principal. That means actually that supply of services from principal only. When principal allow, okay, give loan to that one, then only they will include it in his turnover. But principal is saying you are not my agent. It is also your responsibility. If that person is not paying, I just want money. I'm not at all concerned about anything. You cannot use my name in that. That means it's your turnover. If there is bad debts, it's your responsibility. I'm not going to do anything for you.
But the interest will be going to the DEL creditor agent only, no?
Yes, but you are not understanding one thing. Suppose you are my DEL creditor agent. Okay, I have given you the authority, make invoice in my name. That means actually I am telling you, give him payment, recover interest. Are you getting? So in that case, actually I am the one who is allowing. You are giving invoice in my name. So actually that is my turnover. Take it like this. We take things on finance now. EMI basis. We pay interest. So actually on Amazon you purchase something that is acting as an agent for you. Are you getting? But Amazon is making invoice in the name of principal or in the name of itself. Amazon is making all the invoices in its own name. Rarely it makes in the name of principal. So you have to check if a agent can make invoice in his own name, that means if he can make in own name, that means he is a agent as per paragraph number 3. But if he cannot make in his own name, then not an agent, because main supplies from principal na, that is an ancillary supply due to that main supply. Getting? Now go through that mind map properly, only related to this overall paragraph 3 schedule 1. They are more than self-explanatory. Just read it out once. I have sent it on Telegram. If you have any doubt, again ask me. I'm giving you 5 minutes for that. Have you downloaded? Check your Telegram. I have already sent.
I have one doubt. I have one doubt. जो इनवॉइस एजेंट इशू कर रहा है वो अपने कस्टमर को कर रहा है क्योंकि कस्टमर ने कोई प्रोडक्ट ले रखा है हमारे प्रिंसिपल से.
देखो मैं प्रिंसिपल हूँ, ठीक है. सपोज अभिषेक एक एजेंट है, मैंने तुमको डायरेक्टली सेल कर दिया. अब मैंने किसके कहने पे किया? अभिषेक के कहने पे. वो एजेंट था, उसने कहा मैं हूं ना, मैं गारंटी लेता हूँ कि अगर इनने पेमेंट नहीं किया तो मैं बैठा हूँ. मैंने कहा देखो मेरे नाम पे इनवॉइस तुम इशू कर रहे हो, मतलब मेन सप्लाई मेरा था, मैं अलाउ करती हूँ, ठीक है. ऐसे मैं भी तो रिस्क ले रही हूँ ना एक तरह से. तुम मेरे एजेंट हो, ठीक है. अगर वो अपने नाम अपने खुद के नाम पे वो चीज दे पा रहे, मैंने कहा तुम अपने नाम पे दो क्योंकि मैं अलाउ कर रही हूँ, तुम मेरे एजेंट हो. तब तुम क्या करोगे, मेरे अंदर ही वो क्या करोगे, टर्नओवर इंक्लूड करोगे. बट मैं बोल रही हूँ मुझे कोई मतलब नहीं, अपने नाम पे करो जो करना है, मुझे तो बस पैसे से मतलब है. तो तुम्हारा टर्नओवर अलग रखो, मेरा अलग रखो, अगर नुकसान हुआ तो तुम भुगतना, मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं. इट इज लाइक दैट.
ओके. तो फर्स्ट इनवॉइस अभिषेक विल जनरेट मेरे लिए कि लाइक दिस इज फॉर द गुड्स एंड सेकंड इनवॉइस इज फॉर दैट रिकवरी, दैट इंटरेस्ट दैट ही हैज प्रोवाइडेड.
अगर ही इज नॉट एन एजेंट एज पर पैराग्राफ 3 तो 2 सेपरेट इनवॉइस होंगे. बट अगर वो मेरा एजेंट है तो वो मेरे ही नाम पे तो चीजें कर रहा है, तो एक्चुअल में तो वो मेरे ही टर्नओवर में इंक्लूड होगा. गेटिंग? इफ Abhishek is my Dell Creator agent as per paragraph 3. So he will be forming all the invoice in my name only. So actually it will get combined it would get consolidated in my name. It is my turnover only. Got that, Balaji? Do it.
मैम ये वाला टेलीग्राम पे ना फिर से एक बार भेज दीजिए, मेरे पास नहीं पहुंची.
हाँ जी बिल्कुल, आपको अलग से हर चीज देंगे. जी पहुंचा आपके पास? डन? करो जल्दी पढ़ो. I'm here only. Ask the queries if you have.
मैम मैम एक बार आप फिर से एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो, अगर डेल ट्रेडर एजेंट मतलब लोन देता है कस्टमर को, तो मतलब मुझे उसकी बात का समझ नहीं आ रहा है, थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है.
सुनो, I'm just repeating in Hindi. If Balaji and Sudhir have understood, they can continue with their reading. Understood both of you, Balaji and Sudhir? सुनो, कहाँ है पल्लवी? All the girls are in black right now. Very good. चलो, सबसे पहले ना तुम मेरी एजेंट हो, समझो ये चीज. मैं तुम्हें बोल रही हूँ मेरे नाम पे चीजें करो। इनवॉइस में तुम किसका नाम लिखोगी? अंकिता अरोड़ा। इसका मतलब मैं बोल रही हूँ कि मेरे नाम पे तुम्हें अलाउ किया, जो बिल फाड़ना है मेरे नाम पे फाड़ लेना। तो जितने भी टर्नओवर होंगे वो किसके नाम पे जाएंगे? मेरे नाम पे। आर यू गेटिंग? अगर तुम्हें अलाउ किया मैंने कि मेरे नाम पे बिल फाड़ने का, इसका मतलब क्या है कि जो भी इनवॉइसेस होंगे वो मेरे नाम के ही तो जा रहे हैं। रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर मेरा, सब कुछ मेरा। गेटिंग? तो वो सारा रजिस्ट्रेशन मेरा, सब कुछ मेरा, तो वो सब मेरे ही टर्नओवर का तो पार्ट बनेगा। पर अब तुम दे रहे हो लोन, उसको दो। मैंने बोल दिया मेरे को मतलब नहीं है, मुझे मतलब मेरे पैसे से मुझे मेरे 10 लाख मिलने चाहिए। डेल क्रेडिट एजेंट ने क्या किया, या तो डायरेक्ट कस्टमर को लोन दे दिया या फिर डायरेक्ट मुझे दे दिया। मेरे को मेरा पैसा मिल गया, मैं चली, मेरे को कोई मतलब नहीं। मैंने बोला मेरे नाम पे चीजें नहीं होनी चाहिए कि मैंने लोन दिया, मैंने ये किया। वो तुम्हारा पार्ट है, तुम अपना बिजनेस चला रहे हो, तुम देखो, तुम अपने रिस्क पे करो जो करना है, मेरे को कोई मतलब नहीं है इससे। तो तुम नाम किसका लिखोगे? मैंने कहा मेरा इनवॉइस मेरे नाम पे नहीं, तो मतलब फॉर दैट पार्ट ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस तुम मेरा नाम मत लिखो। तो अगर तुम मेरा उस सर्विस के नाम पे मेरा नाम लिखोगे ही नहीं इनवॉइस में, रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर किसका लिखोगे? खुद का। तो वो तुम्हारे पार्ट में ही जाएगा ना। गेटिंग? क्योंकि जब भी इनवॉइस बनता है रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर आता है। तो नाम का मतलब क्या है? मैंने अलाउ किया मेरे नाम पे बिल फाड़ना। इस ये सप्लाई, ये जो तुम पैसा भी दे रहे हो ना उसको, इसमें भी मुझे क्या चाहिए? तुम इंटरेस्ट लोगे तो वो मुझे भी तो मिलेगा। तो बोलते हैं कि साइडलाइन में वो बिजनेस भी कर लेंगे अपन। लेकिन मैंने कहा देख, ये लोन वोन का काम मेरे से नहीं होता, ये ब्याज पे चलाना पैसा मुझसे नहीं होता, मेरे नाम पे मत करना। तो तुम अपना नाम लिखोगे, अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर लिखोगे, तो वो सेपरेट इनवॉइस आएगा, वो सेपरेट सप्लाई होगा, और ये सेपरेट है। आया समझ में? ठीक है।
मैम तो जब फर्स्ट केस में प्रिंसिपल अलाउ कर रहा है कि मेरे नाम पर कर दो, तो एक्चुअली वो लोन प्रिंसिपल की साइड से ही हुआ।
एक्चुअल में वो इंटरेस्ट का पार्ट वो लेगा। देखो ट्रांजैक्शन ऑफ मनी पे तो वैसे ही जीएसटी नहीं लगता, उसकी तो बात ही नहीं हो रही है। जीएसटी की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे कि जीएसटी तो तुम किस पे लगाओगे? वो जो तुम एक्स्ट्रा चार्ज कर रहे हो, तो उसका फिर वो इनकम उसी के कंसिडर करेंगे ना। तो बात उसकी हो रही है। मनी को तो वही बोला ना, भूल जाओ, दैट इज जस्ट ट्रांजेक्शन ऑफ मनी। वो तो ना गुड्स है ना सर्विस है, समझे? ऐसा। तो वो जो इंटरेस्ट, वो ब्याज पे पैसा भी चला रहा है, उसको वो दिखाएगा नहीं, इधर से ब्याज पे ऐसा चलाएगा, और रिकवरी तो करेगा ना डेल क्रेडिट के थ्रू। रिस्क ले रहा है, एंड रिस्क ऑफ द बिजनेस है ये। हो सकता है गुड्स भी जाए और पैसा भी जाए, वो तो उसकी रिस्क है। लेट मी नो वंस डन। Chalo. Let us move forward. Today we have to complete schedule number 1. Done, Sudhir? Sure. Now the last part of schedule number 1. The last part of schedule number 1, it is about when there is supply. It is about when there is supply, whether of goods, whether of service. Only wholesale one activity that has been covered in schedule number 1 that talks about both the things. Whether you are supplying goods, whether you are supplying services, but that supply should be between related person or deemed distinct person. So the supply need to be between deemed distinct person or related person. Now, who is deemed distinct person? Who are the related person? That we will come to know. But whenever there has been a supply between your related party, that means you are all related, supplying each other. Even you are supplying it without consideration, no, we want to charge GST, because obviously department को तुम्हारी रिश्तेदारी से क्या करना? Why the department is concerned about that you are relative, you are not relative, they want their GST. So even though it is without consideration, they would like to charge GST on that. So 4 parts we have done, 4 paragraphs. Paragraph number 1, it was permanent transfer of business asset on which ITC have been availed on such asset. Second was that the same thing, when there is supply of goods or service between the related party or deemed distinct person. Then third, import of service. Third is import of service. You cannot interchange like this. Third, right now we have done when there is supply of goods between principal to agent and agent to principal without consideration. And fourth is your import of service between what? When there is import of service from a related party or your own establishment outside India for course furtherance of business. Write every keyword, then only it will make sense. Otherwise, your interpretation will totally change. So these are the 4 pointers we have included. Now, what is the main thing in this paragraph number 2? That is, whenever there is supply of good, whenever there is supply of service between related party and deemed distinct person. So first of all, I have to just identify whether it is good or not, because basically I would identify whether it is good or not. Now, what are the things that are not considered to be good? Money is not good, right? Security is not good, that I know. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption actually not covered in GST although. Then, what are other things that are not good? सबसे पहले aviation turbine fuel. Aviation turbine fuel is not good. Then your petroleum and crude products are not good. Natural gas are not good. There are certain 5 elements they have given. Motor spirit oil is not good. So 5 elements they have again specifically given that these are not considered to be good. So that is what petroleum product, motor spirit, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel. These are not good. And again, that alcoholic liquor for human consumption, that is not considered to be good because it is not included in GST. Money is not good. Security is not good. So now the list is that 4 product: aviation turbine fuel, petroleum crude oil, natural gas, then your aviation turbine fuel, motor spirit. Then comes your alcoholic liquor for human consumption, your money, your security. Make a list of all these 7 things. Money, security, right. What is not considered to be goods? What are not considered to be goods? First, money. What is not considered to be goods? First is money. Second, security. First is money. Second, security. Third, aviation turbine fuel. Third, aviation turbine fuel. Then motor spirit. Then motor spirit. Then alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Aviation turbine fuel. Aviation turbine fuel. Petroleum and crude oil. Petroleum and crude oil. Have I already dictated natural gas? Right, natural gas. Aviation turbine fuel, natural gas. Then high speed diesel oil. High speed diesel oil. Then tobacco. Tobacco. Opium. Tobacco. Opium. So how many it is? It should be at
10.
least 10.
10.
So this is final list where it is not goods. If you find tobacco, if you find aviation turbine fuel, motor spirit, high speed diesel oil, or you find natural gas, you find opium, alcoholic liquor for human consumption, your crude oil, your petroleum products, these are all not part of your GST. So this complete the list that are not goods. Okay. So whenever you find all this thing, money, security, it is not considered to be goods. Now, if I say similar thing that I have said high speed diesel oil, but if I'm saying kerosene, is it covered in it? Is it also not good? If I talk about kerosene, tell me, is it good or not?
It is a good.
It is a good. So write similar things that you might feel that it is not good, but actually they are good. So write it down. Actually covered in goods. Covered in goods. Kerosene. LPG, liquid petroleum gas. Natural gas is not included, but LPG is included. LPG, then high-speed diesel oil not included, but lubricant oil is included. Engine oil is included. Engine oil included. Light speed diesel oil included. High speed is not included, but light speed diesel oil is included. But when I talk about petroleum, whether it is high speed petroleum or low speed petroleum, both are excluded from the definition of goods. You know, na, there is petroleum for high speed also. Okay. So light speed diesel oil, it is good, but high speed diesel oil, it is not good. Vitamin oil means any kind of oil they will now provide. Only high speed diesel oil is not good. Everything other than this is good. So kerosene is good, LPG is good, engine oil, vitamin oil, or light speed diesel oil. These are all goods. Understood? So this complete overall package of good. The definition, what is included, what is not included. So my first step would be to target whether something is good or not. I have to identify if it is good, then only I will move towards the second thing, whether it is supply or not. Goods are there. Now, how I will check supply? Whether the 5 elements are present. What were the 5 elements? Consideration, course furtherance, by the taxable person, in course furtherance of business. I have to check all those things. In spite of being supply, it is supply. Now I have to check one thing, whether it is covered in schedule number 3. whether it is covered in mega exemption. Oh, if it is covered in schedule 3 or it is covered in mega exemption, still after being supplied, no GST will be levied. Changing the scenario, it is a supply. It is not covered in schedule 3. It is not covered anywhere in mega exemption. Now, don't apply directly the logic. C, whether it is taxable under RCM or it is taxable under forward charge. So this has to be done like this. Understood the full package? Done. Now, I am talking about when you supply goods, when you supply service to related party. Now, who is the related party? Write it down. The related party. Related party for an individual. For an individual. Related party for an individual. Parents, grandparents, brother, sister. Parents, grandparents, brother, sister. These are related only when parents, grandparents, brother and sister. This should be in a box. Make a box and then make an arrow. Parents, grandparents, brother, sister. You would have written overall full spelling, then make an arrow. These are related only if they are dependent on you. Only if they are dependent. That means even if your parent is earning, having pension, your parent is earning by themselves, they are not dependent on you. Now they are not your relatives. This point is very important when it comes to any of the question related to relative. So only 4 persons are required to be dependent. Spouse is not required to be dependent. Only 4. Parents, grandparents, brother and sister. If they are dependent, then they are relative. Now, other relatives like spouse, children. Spouse, children, right. Spouse and children, whether dependent or not, whether dependent or not, are always relative. Spouse, children, whether dependent or not, are always relative. Done? So this is one part for only individual. This is not the completion of definition. It is just one part for individual. Now, other relatives. If you are officer director in one another's business, I am the director of his business, he is the director of my business. If one another business, you are the director, that means you have control on each other's business. You are a relative. If you are legally recognized partner, that means you have a partnership deed. If you are legally recognized partner, if you are, remember this thing, employer, employee. Remember this thing, employer and employee. Right now we have done. What was the logic for that? I just forgotten whatever I have taught about employer, employee. I am unable to recall. Please make me recall. आज ही पढ़ा. Today only we have done something.
मैम अगर एम्प्लॉयर एक सेकंड अगर सेक्शन 192 में टीडीएस कट रहा है तो मतलब वो एम्प्लॉय है और एम्प्लॉय है तो क्या करते हैं?
If TDS director under 194J, then it's not
Yes.
employee-employee relationship.
Okay, if he is employee, now what has been written somewhere?
Then it is not a supply of service. Like अगर employer ने employee जो services देता, then it's not a supply, and it is given in Schedule 3.
Schedule 3. Employer, if an employee, whether he is wage-based employee, whether he is labor, whether he is having salary, whether contract-based employee, employee of any kind, Any type of employee, if he is providing services to the employer, any type of employee providing service to employer during, that is important, during course of employment, neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Wait, what they have written over here, this is related party. And whenever there is transaction between related party without consideration, they are saying you have to consider it as a supply. Understand very wisely. Now you are all my employees. Okay, you are giving me services. You are giving me services. That means services from whom? Service from employee to employer. At one place they are saying whenever employee is providing services, whenever employee is providing service to employer in course of employment, it is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. That has been mentioned where, Abhishek? In schedule number 3. But here they are saying that was for consideration. Now here they are saying if it is without consideration, you have to consider it as supply. Don't you think it is something? At one place they are saying not at all supply of goods, not at all supply of service, and at this place at schedule number 1 they are saying it is supply. So actually,
consideration is making difference.
in that place also, schedule number 3, it has not been mentioned that it should be only for consideration. They have only said one thing, that whenever employee provides service to employer in course of employment, neither supply of goods nor supply of service. So basically, again, we have to link it. Employer-employee is part of related party, but employer-employee is part of related party's definition. But when it comes to that employment wala service, when it comes to the service relation to employment, that again comes and get linked directly from schedule number 3. जब ये employee employer का relation employment वाला है, तो schedule number 3 पे जाना. Done? आया इतना? Done? Now, one more thing. An employee provides service to employer. Schedule number 3, if it is during the course of business, do not apply GST because it is negative list. But what if employer provides service to employee? If employer is giving me gift, Diwali, he is providing me gift. I am the employee of the month, employee of the year, he is giving me gift. When gift is given by employer to employee up to 50,000 per financial year, per employee, 50,000 per financial year, per employee. When it comes to per financial year, that means aggregate, obviously it is aggregate. So per financial year, per employee, it is not leviable to GST. But if it is even 50,000 rupee, entire will be liable to GST. Employer जब अपने employee को gift दे रहा है 50,000 के above, GST leviable. But जब 50,000 तक in a financial year है, per employee है, then it will not be leviable. GST नहीं लगेगा, mega exemption दिया. Is it understood? I have tried to repeat in Hindi also, in English also. Is it understood to everyone? So, in this concept, specifically, we have to focus on employer-employee because it was included in related party, but don't get confused. You have to link schedule number 3 also here. You have to link what? Schedule number 3. Specifically, when employee to employer, that schedule number 3 will pop up. Employee to employer, no. But when it is employer to employee, mega exemption, 50,000, it will not be leviable to GST. Understood this wisely? Now, is that same has been written over here? See. When employee is providing service to employer, in course of employment, it is not supply. Why? Because of schedule number 3. When employer provides something to employee that is gift, then if it exceeds 50,000 in a financial year, then GST will be leviable. If it is less than 50,000, no GST will be leviable. Understood? And it is per employee. For every employee, it has to be 50,000. Now, suppose if it is, don't unmute yourself. If it is more than 50,000, suppose it is 50,000 like this, 55,000. Would I apply GST only on 5,000 or overall? It has to be applied on overall. But this gift has to be in course furtherance of business. But this gift has to be in what? Course furtherance of business. Then only it is possible. Now, ma'am, what about exact 50,000? More than 50,000, okay. Less than 50,000, we understood. What is the language? Read the language in your book and let me know whether it is 50,000 or less than or more than.
And 50,000 will be in mega exemption.
Right? So whenever it is less than 50,000 and mark it out like this, equal to 50,000, no GST will be there. Now, giving you certain kind of probabilities. Employer providing gift. Listen to me properly. Employer providing gift to the employee. Employer providing gift to employee on the occasion of marriage of 55,000. Employer providing gift to employee of rupees 50,000 on the occasion of marriage. It would be taxable, yes or no?
No.
Are 55,000?
Not in the course of furtherance.
Not in course of business.
Remember what I have told you, this gift should be provided in course furtherance of business. You have to compulsorily provide this gift in course furtherance of business. Then only it would be either mega exempted or leviable to GST. Understood this concept? So actually rest is nothing. It's only now deemed establishment. What is deemed distinct establishment or not? Rest is nothing, but whole concept was actually related to your employee. First of all, employee relation with related party, then employee's relation with your schedule number 3, then employee relation, employer-employee relation with mega exemption, then whether it is course furtherance of business, not course furtherance of business, you have to check each and every point like this. Done. From tomorrow, 6 to 7:30 DT. 15 minutes break have been given. Then we will start with IDT first now, then DT. So 15 minutes break is yours. Get yourself like house the Josh very, very high. Okay? Chalo. What is the task for you? Import wala, right? Import of service ka chart I need today only. That is the wholesale right now I am giving you. From tomorrow I will give you thoda bada cheez. Okay. One more thing, I don't know you all of you are there or not. I said you one thing na, I will take test of DT residential status. It would be a surprise test. So might be you can get a surprise today only. Might be. Okay. So residential status of individual, residential status of company. I hope at least you have revised that concept. Abhishek, concept revise किए थे? Company के, individual के? बोलो, जल्दी बोलो. सुधीर, बालाजी. हाँ बोलो ना बोलो नहीं.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, revise कर लिए.
Balaji, this will not go like this. Every time my test would be a surprise test. That means you have to every time be prepared.
I'm not in DT.
Okay.
I'm not in DT.
Sorry. Then okay. Then whatever you do, okay. ठीक है, चलो. So बाकी तुम 3-4 जो भी हो, remember. ठीक है, जो भी हो मतलब. ठीक है, पल्लवी तुम नहीं हो शायद.
नहीं, मैं कुछ पूछ रही हूँ मैम.
हाँ.
मैम आप एक बार वो सारे पॉइंट्स फिर से रिपीट कर दीजिए जो एम्प्लॉय के लिए चेक करना.
कल मैं रिवाइज करवाऊंगी ना, तो मैं ऑडियो रिकॉर्ड करके भेजूंगी. आज का जितना किया ना इनिशियली, वो अभी ऑडियो तुमको सेंड हो जाएगा. तो एटलीस्ट उसको सुन लेना, जो तुम मुझसे अभी पूछ रही थी ना डाउट्स, वो सारे उसके अंदर तुम्हें फिर सुनने को मिल जाएंगे, ठीक है। चलो ओके, 7:45 DT।